Wow, what a shot that is, by the way. Gilbert is looking in supreme form when he gets in. Stuart Bingham was brilliant. Jack Jones played a magnificent match.
And both semi-finals of this year's Snooker World Championship have served up a treat so far. All four players looking comfortable with the one-table setup. Steve Davis and Neil Robertson alongside me. We'll be looking ahead to Kyron Wilson against David Gilbert in just a moment. But first of all, news on the closing stages of the other semi-final between Jack Jones and Stuart Bingham. The pair restarted at 4 frames all. Bingham won the first 2 frames, but there was never much between the two. The final frame of their session lasted 41 minutes, with both players knowing the importance of winning it. It went the way of Stuart Bingham, and it's 8 apiece with 2 sessions remaining. Neil was the one commentating, or one of the commentators on this, Neil. What was your assessment of the way the two players conducted themselves?
Similar pattern to the first one, where Stuart came out of the blocks really quick and was looking really good. And then a couple of unforced errors here or there from both players sort of slowed things down a bit. And Jack was able to play the game a little bit more on his terms and, yeah, would have been delighted coming out 8 each.
We're sharing the studio today with Steve Davis. You may hear the phrase, "I told you so," a few times, because Steve has been predicting that these two matches were going to be close from the very start.
Yeah, it just feels like it's got that written all over it, and it's because I think maybe there's like the enormity of the situation of facing all these 4 players. Think this could be my best ever chance to win the World Championship here, and because of that, not saying that they're rabbits in the headlights, but it's hard to get away from your opponent because there's a lot of tension. I think even more so than some other semi-finals.
But I've got to say, everyone's expecting Stuart Bingham to be comfortable because he's been there, done it, won it in 2015. But Jack Jones and what he's doing, the way that he has lifted himself in the one-table setup, has been impressive, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has, especially being 3-0 down in the first session. You know, it was looking like Stuart could really pull away, and then that's where his experience would show. But he's done really well to hang around. That's what he's done a lot in a lot of the matches as well so far this week. He's just sort of like stayed in there, you know, and you've got to really admire that.
Does he appear to be uncrackable, Steve?
I don't know. I think, you can crack at any moment. It's just, hopefully, you crack up in a straight line and you still get the ball in the pocket.
Well, we will no doubt find out when they resume tomorrow. Now to the other semi-final between Kyron Wilson and David Gilbert. Here's what the media made of their match so far.
There's nothing between Kyron Wilson and Dave Gilbert. They're tied at 4 frames all. Both players have entertained the crowd with their attacking brand of snooker, and the fans here will be hoping the next session is just as exciting. Well, it's been fantastic so far. I mean, I love the way they both play the game, entertaining, attacking, and they really excite the fans.
They've been 2 of the best players of the tournament, and watching them out there playing some beautiful snooker, it's like poetry.
It's been a really sort of entertaining match so far. 2 players who look to be at their absolute best.
For a total clearance of a 129. It's there. The angry farmer levels 6 frames all.
They're both going for it. They're playing their shots. You know, it's not a safety duel. They're going to go for it. They really want this.
Oh, look at this for a shot. Just love the way he's playing. He's definitely come to this World Championship a different player.
At the moment, there's nothing separating them, but something is going to have to give because one of these players is going to make it to that final.
Another century, his 3rd of the match. Well played, Dave Gilbert. Excellent stuff.
He's compiled 9 centuries, which is not far off 25% of the centuries, in the entire tournament. So it just shows how he's playing.
What a wonderful finish to a magnificent session of snooker from both players. What a semi-final. It's 8 all.
It feels like it could go all the way. It could be, a final frame decider, and if you've got a ticket for the last session, you could be in for a treat.
Well, if it does go all the way, hopefully they'll produce the same quality that they've produced so far in the 2 sessions. Obviously, David Gilbert has got the 3 centuries, but there is nothing to separate them, Steve. What do you make of it?
Yeah, well, I think they're the two players that have been in form the whole tournament, and they've continued it. As Shadman said, you know, it's so hard to separate. Obviously, one's got to go through, but I just think that's why it just feels like it's got 17-16. Both of these matches have got very, very close written all over them.
And from a purist's point of view, watching the way Kyron and Dave playing at the moment, it's just a joy.
Yeah, it is, and it's very fitting, I think, because both players, from my point of view, have been the two best sort of coming into these semi-finals. And what's really good to see is that both of them are really trying to win this match. You know, they're not hoping that, you know, one won't turn up. They're both really attacking the balls and both scoring very heavily. So, yeah, it's just a brilliant match to watch. The standard has been really high.
Been lucky enough, a lot of us have, to see them all backstage on the practice tables, watching their routines. Kyron's the same. He's got his AirPods in and he's focused and he's practicing his long shots. Whereas Dave Gilbert comes out with his E17 We're All Right music blaring out from his phone and then gets in the zone, but enjoying every moment of it.
Yeah, well, I think they look like they've enjoyed the tournament. I mean, that is really sort of something that you can't make yourself do. You've just got to be enjoying your snooker. And if you're playing with enjoyment, it's the possibility that you can play with freedom. And that means you're scoring well. And if you're playing on the back foot, you're worried about things, you're trying to protect a lead, that's a lot harder to do. So they're just going for the line.
Neil, you had an interesting stat about both semi-finals being 8-all.
Yeah, first time since 2007, and Mark Selby beat Shaun Murphy 17-16. I believe Higgins beat Maguire 17-15. So if things can carry on like that, we're certainly in for a treat.
OK, what's going to make the difference, if anything, between Dave Gilbert and Kyron Wilson this evening?
I think the way we look at snooker now, it's a frame where somebody steals it from another. And you don't know how it's going to pan out. It's just somebody nicks a frame they should never win, and that could be the springboard.
And what about the pressure of staying in touch and the fact that we're getting closer to the... It's now session 3.
Yeah, I mean, look, there will be a point where some mistakes do start to creep in, and it will be who can take advantage, who can steal the frame from 60 behind to win it on the black, you know, to extend a two-frame advantage. It would just be something as small as that which could be the difference in this match.
Well, it has been so enjoyable watching these two players. They've both been at their best throughout this tournament. What have they got in session 3? Well, let's not keep them waiting any longer to come out onto the arena. Here is our MC, Rob Walker.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Friday night. We're in Sheffield, and this is the start of a 3-day bank holiday weekend, which will culminate in the crowning of the Kazoo World Snooker Champion on Monday night. And for the first time in 17 years, there is nothing to separate these two semi-finals at the halfway stage. This is going to be an absolutely monumental climax to our sporting marathon here at the one and only Crucible Theatre. What a run and what a match so far from the 2019 semi-finalist. We have never seen him so composed on the big stage. This is arguably one of the most important individual sessions of snooker of his entire career. He's starting to believe that a fairy tale final looms large. Lean, keen and ready to roll, he's Dave Gilbert. What an atmosphere tonight, and what an opponent. He's played immaculate snooker to make a 4th semi-final in 7 years. Steve Davis has said he's never seen him cueing better. He'll be roared on by his sons Finlay and Bailey, who are in the crowd. He's pumped up for tonight. Come on, Daddy. Come on, the Warrior. Come on, Kyron Wilson.
Well, when it comes to the scoreline, these two have been holding hands from the off. Will one of them break free this evening? Shaun Murphy and John Parrott will tell us.
Thank you, Lucy, and good evening.